So then, the votes are in, and the winner is... When this thing first released, I was really excited. The whole idea of having a smartphone that can also be a PSP sounded amazing, but by the time I was old enough to get a phone, I had never even remembered that this thing existed. And no one else did. I never actually knew anyone personally that owned this. So why did the Xperia Play, aka the PlayStation phone, fail? It sort of just seemed to disappear. Well, let's take a look back and see what happened. Handheld console phones were all the rage before Sony tried it with the Xperia. Remember when we talked about the N-Gage? Anyways though, a year after the PSP was released, Sony filed a patent for something that looked like a PlayStation phone. And the rumors further began growing the year after when an executive from Sony Mobile announced that they were working on a device to play games on. But oddly enough, a few months after that, David Reeves of Sony Computer Europe denied these rumors. But then during a games convention, another executive of Sony Ericsson said that it was something they were looking into, but he wasn't able to comment at the moment about it. A year later in 2008, Sony Magazine confirmed that a PSP phone was in development, but a year later in 2009 it was said that the PlayStation phone was cancelled. This was because Sony didn't want to license the PlayStation phone to Sony Ericsson. This was a merged company that would eventually be Sony Mobile. A few months later though, after Sony said that they wouldn't be doing the PlayStation phone, Hideki Komiyama, head of Sony Ericsson, said that he would in fact want a PlayStation phone made, and apparently development was back in motion, as it was said the phone would be developed to rival Apple's iPhone. During this time, Apple was seen as a very big threat to the mobile gaming market for other companies. The rumors would continue to pile up as it was said that the phone would run Android and be able to download games from the Play Store. And also, according to Engadget's leaks, it looked like it would take on a PSP Go look. Engadget continued to leak images of the device, and it was believed that the device would be called the Sony Ericsson Z1. It got to the point that videos were being leaked as well. Finally, a year later in 2011, Sony would announce the PlayStation phone, as referred to as the Sony Xperia Play. It started releasing in April of the same year, launching with 50 titles. It also ran impressively on Android Gingerbread, but it was unimpressively running on 3G, and during this time 4G was coming to more devices slowly. Games that you can play on the device include Sims 3, Asphalt 6, Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock, and Madden 11, as well as Minecraft. Actually, if you're one of the 50 million people that have seen this trailer for Minecraft Pocket Edition being announced, that is the Xperia Play. This whole time I had no idea that I was looking at a PlayStation phone, although over time, the Xperia Play was forgotten. It wasn't even covered by articles for long. It just seemed like another phone in the cycle of many phones that came out, and that was basically it. The only other article I could find was in 2012 when Sony said that they wouldn't upgrade the Xperia Play to play on Android Ice Cream Sandwich due to stability concerns. Now I think the main answer to this question on what exactly happened is Sony isn't really that big in the mobile phone market. Just because you slap the PlayStation logo on your phone doesn't mean that it's going to sell well in the smartphone industry. People were probably more interested in other brands like Apple and Samsung, and the other 1,000 smartphone brands out there. Although today the Xperia Play does not exist, there are still Xperia phones, and on these phones you can play PS4 games over remote play, which is fairly convenient for storage purposes, although a strong connection is the only drawback in certain cases. Plus, you'll have to bring a PlayStation controller with you to have physical controls. Remote play though has been added to the iOS App Store, but not to Google Play. Kinda weird. And Apple really was rivaling on Sony and Nintendo with their iPod Touch.
The iPod Touch outsells Nintendo and Sony portable game players combined.
It really was seen as the ultimate gaming device because of how many free games it had. But on Android there are a lot of also free games. There isn't really a point to having it compared to other phones. Other than it having physical controls, that's about it. This was during the rise of Galaxy and other Android phones coming out with bigger displays, and from what I've seen from reviews, developers would have to code in their games to work with Xperia Play's physical controls, so you can only play a limited amount of games on it. Of course you can play other Android games with the touchscreen, just not with the physical controls. Nintendo also, as we've seen, has a very big effect in the mobile gaming market. The Vita, although it sold a lot better I would assume than the Xperia Play, didn't live on as the 3DS did. And I'm sure that people would go rather with a Vita instead of a Xperia Play because the Xperia Play just doesn't have as many games, and it's not as powerful. But this was a good attempt by Sony to try something new. It's always good to try something new, even if it fails. You never know until you try. So that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.